Have you ever noticed this weird pattern where people seem super into you at first, and then slowly they just fade out? They stop texting as much. They feel a bit distant. And you're left thinking, did I do something wrong? Is there something about me that just turns people off? Mirror, if that feels a little too familiar, this video is for you. Because sometimes we push people away without even realizing it. And psychology has a lot to say about why. Today, we're going to go through 8 subtle signs you're pushing people away, even if all you really want is closeness and connection. And sign number 6, that's the one that quietly ends relationships, even when the love is still there. So stick around for that. Hey, welcome to Inner Compass. Here we talk about psychology, mental health, and relationships in a way that actually makes sense. A queer-style asunto. Most people who push others away are not bad people. In fact, very often, they're the ones who care the most. They just learned, usually a long time ago, that getting too close can hurt. So their brain found little protective habits that over time became automatic. The problem is, those same habits that once kept you safe can now destroy your relationships. In this video, you'll spot 8 behaviors that quietly make people back off. Understand the psychology behind each one, and learn what to do instead so you can stop sabotaging good relationships. We're not here to judge you. We're here to understand you. All right, let's dive in. Let's start with a big one. Sign number 1. You say, "I'm fine," when you're absolutely not fine. Someone asks, "Hey, are you okay?" "Yeah, don't worry about it, it's nothing." But inside, you're hurt, you're disappointed, you're angry. You just don't want to show it. From a psychology point of view, this is often a protective strategy. Maybe in the past, when you expressed needs or emotions, you were ignored, shamed, or told you were too much. So your brain went, "Cool, we're never doing that again. We'll just handle everything alone." The problem? When you always say, "I'm fine," people stop believing they're allowed to get close. They feel like they're walking on eggshells, sensing something is wrong, but never being told what. And eventually, they back off. Because they feel shut out. Attraction doesn't just die when there are fights. It dies when there is no emotional access. What to try instead? Next time, experiment with a tiny bit more honesty. Something like, "I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but I'm not fully okay. I just need a little time." That sentence does 2 things. It protects your space and lets the other person stay emotionally close. Sign number 2. You turn everything into a joke. Your friend says, "I really like spending time with you." "Haha, wow, your standards must be low." Your partner tries to open up about something serious. Feelings gross, can we not?" Humor is amazing. Humor can bond, heal, and create intimacy. But when you use jokes to deflect every serious moment, it actually becomes a wall. Psychologically, that's called an avoidant defense. Your brain goes, "If we keep things light, nobody can really see us. And if they can't see us, they can't reject us." The hidden message other people receive is, "I can't really connect with you on a deeper level. My feelings won't be taken seriously here. You're always on, never real." Over time, people stop trying. They still like you, but they start going elsewhere when they need real emotional intimacy. What to try instead? You don't have to drop the humor. That's part of your charm. Just allow micro moments of seriousness. For example, I joke about this a lot, but honestly, it does bother me. That tiny shift tells the other person, "Hey, there's a real human in here. You're allowed to meet them." Sign number 3. You're way more critical than you think you are. Maybe you nitpick everything. How they text, how they dress, how they load the dishwasher, you know who you are. Or maybe you constantly put yourself down. I'm so stupid. I'm a mess. Why would anyone want to be with me? Here's the psychology behind this. Chronic criticism, outward or inward, is usually a sign of core shame and anxiety. If I criticize you first, I stay in control. If I criticize myself first, you can't hurt me with it. But to the people around you, it feels like nothing is ever good enough. Being around you equals feeling judged or drained. There's no room for softness or being imperfect. And guess what people do when they feel constantly judged? Exactly. They withdraw. They share less. They become tense around you. And eventually, they pull away. What to try instead? Catch your inner dialogue. When you hear yourself mentally attacking everything, pause and think. Would I say this to a close friend? Practice one simple phrase out loud. It doesn't have to be perfect to be valuable. That mindset shift alone can make you feel safer to yourself and to others. By the way, I want you to notice something. So far, none of these signs mean you're broken or unlovable. They just mean your nervous system has learned some protective patterns. And in a minute, we're going to get to sign number 6, which is the one that quietly ends relationships even when the love is still there. But first, sign number 4. Sign number 4. You try to control the whole relationship. You pick the time. You decide how often you talk. You subtly steer every conversation. If the other person does something unexpected, you feel intensely uncomfortable or even angry. From a psychological standpoint, this is usually anxiety wearing a bossy costume. Control says, if I can manage every variable, I'll be safe. If I let go, I'll be abandoned or blindsided. But here's how it lands on the other side. They don't feel like a partner. They feel like a project. Their autonomy feels threatened. They experience you as intense, rigid, or hard to relax around. Over time, most people respond to that by pulling away to breathe. What to try instead? Experiment with shared control. Ask, what works for you? Let them choose the activity sometimes. Sit with the discomfort of not knowing exactly what will happen. Mira, I know that's not easy, but intimacy is messy. Control kills the very spontaneity and aliveness that make relationships feel good. Sign number 5. You test people instead of communicating your needs. You wait to see. If I pull back, will they chase me? If I don't text first, will they still care? You post a vague story just to see if they react. You create little emotional obstacle courses and then judge them for how well they run through them, without ever telling them the rules. Psychologically, this is rooted in fear of rejection and low trust. On some level, you might think, if I ask directly and they say no, I'll be shattered, so I'll test them instead. That way, I can always pretend I didn't really care. The problem is, from their perspective, they feel confused and manipulated. They're constantly guessing what you want. There's no clarity, just tension. Most healthy people don't stick around in that dynamic for long. They don't even always know why. They just feel drained and start to detach. What to try instead? Practice micro requests. Hey, it means a lot to me when you text me first sometimes. Could you let me know if you're going to be busy and slower to reply? Simple, direct, respectful. You deserve real data, not mind games. All right, here it is. Sign number 6. You slowly disappear when things get too real. At the beginning, you're all in. Texting, calling, flirting, opening up. But as soon as the relationship starts to feel serious, demands more vulnerability, or someone says, "I really like you," something in you panics. You start taking longer to reply. You become busier. You tell yourself, "I'm just not ready for this," or "I'm losing interest," even if nothing is actually wrong. What's going on here psychologically? This is classic fear of intimacy, not because you don't want love, but because love has been paired in your nervous system with pain, betrayal, or the feeling of losing yourself. So your brain does the only thing it knows how to do to protect you. It hits the eject button. To the other person, though, it feels like rejection, confusing mixed signals. What did I do wrong? And the tragedy is, sometimes you did genuinely care. You just didn't have the tools to stay. What to try instead? When you notice yourself pulling back, pause. Ask, am I actually losing interest, or am I getting scared? Try naming it with the person, even in a simple way. "Hey, when things get close like this, I sometimes freak out and distance myself." If you notice that, feel free to gently call it out. "I'm working on it." That level of honesty can be incredibly healing for both of you. Sign number 7. You avoid conflict like it's the plague. You hate arguments, so you swallow your frustration, change the subject, or say, "It's not a big deal," when it absolutely is a big deal. At first, this looks like you're easygoing. "Wow, you're so chill, you never get mad." But underneath, resentment quietly builds. Little things start to feel huge. You feel unseen and unheard. You may start making sarcastic comments, withdrawing, or even exploding later over something small. Psychology is very clear on this. Healthy conflict is necessary for intimacy. When you avoid it completely, you're not preserving the relationship. You're slowly starving it. People can feel when something's off. They just don't know what. So they start to feel anxious and distant. What to try instead? Use simple, non-attacking language. For example, "When X happened, I felt Y." Next time, could we try Z instead? No drama, no blame, just clarity. You might be surprised how many conflicts can strengthen a bond when handled calmly. And sign number 8, you refuse help. Someone offers to listen. "Nah, it's okay, I'll figure it out." They show up for you. You really didn't have to do that. Deep down, you carry a belief like, "I'm a burden. If I need anyone, they'll eventually leave." Strong people handle everything alone. From a psychological standpoint, this is often linked to early experiences of inconsistency, where needing people was met with disappointment, criticism, or abandonment. So now, to feel safe, you push everyone away from your vulnerable parts. You only show the strong, the sorted version of you. But humans bond through support and reciprocity. When you never let anyone truly be there for you, they feel unnecessary. They feel like the relationship is one-sided. They may think you don't trust them or don't value them, and slowly they step back. What to try instead? Start really small. Let someone bring you coffee. Accept a ride. Say, "Actually, yeah, I would like to talk about it." Let people experience the satisfaction of showing up for you. That's how real bonds deepen. So let's zoom out for a second. If you recognized yourself in 2, 3, or maybe all of these signs, that doesn't mean you're toxic. It doesn't mean you're unlovable. It usually means this. At some point, your brain decided that distance equals safety. All these behaviors, joking everything away, saying, "I'm fine," testing people, disappearing when things get real, they're protective strategies that have simply outlived their usefulness. Aquí está el asunto. You can learn new strategies. Connection is a skill. Vulnerability is a skill. Communicating your needs is a skill. And skills can be practiced. A simple 3-step experiment. Notice, this week, just watch yourself. Which of these 8 signs shows up the most for you? Name it. When it happens, mentally label it. Okay, that's me avoiding conflict. That's me testing instead of asking. Nudge it. Try one tiny alternative behavior. Be 10% more honest. Take half a step toward the person instead of away. Ask directly instead of testing. Small shifts, repeated over time, can change your entire relationship pattern. If this video hit home for you, you're not alone. A lot of us are just trying to unlearn old survival habits and build something healthier. If you found this helpful, hit like so more people can find it, and subscribe to Inner Compass for more psychology-based videos on relationships and mental health. And I'd love to hear from you. Which sign felt the most accurate for you, and what's one small change you want to try this week? Drop it in the comments. Sharing it can be your first step toward doing things differently. If you want to go deeper, check out this next video right here, where we talk about attachment styles and why you're attracted to certain types of people over and over again. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. And remember, you're not too much or not enough. You're just learning how to let people stay.